Right now, across the country, sudden LPG cylinder shortages are shutting down household kitchens. Families are scrambling, completely unexpectedly, to figure out how they are going to cook dinner tonight. The immediate reaction is to head to the nearest electronics store. Shoppers are clearing out entire shelves of cheap electric induction cooktops, buying whatever is available out of sheer necessity. But as these boxes come home, a massive hesitation sets in. Consumers look at that sleek, fragile glass top and wonder if it can actually survive the heavy-duty reality of traditional Indian cooking. Western marketing materials show these stoves boiling a pot of pasta or heating up a pan of eggs, but an Indian kitchen runs on high-temperature deep frying, heavy cast-iron kadais, and rigorous stirring. Treating an induction cooktop as a temporary band-aid is a mistake. Without understanding the underlying physics, you risk ruining your food and wasting your money on an appliance that cannot handle your menu. This chart shows a comparison table titled The Kitchen Baseline. On the left, we have the familiar reliability of gas stoves, and on the right, the primary consumer fears regarding induction technology, from fragile surfaces to incompatible cookware. To find out if these fears are justified, we are running an objective evaluation. We will measure the appliance strictly on 3 parameters: heat recovery, heat distribution, and longevity under a heavy load. Everything relies on the core scientific principle of the appliance: electromagnetic heating. Electromagnetic heating is a process where magnetic currents bypass the surrounding air entirely and create heat directly inside the metal of the cookware. To test if that magnetic friction holds up, we are skipping the flimsy budget models. We are hooking up a heavy-duty 2200-watt induction cooktop and putting it through a systematic high-stress culinary evaluation. The data shows that induction can match the performance of a traditional gas burner, provided the user accepts a hidden switching cost, a mandatory upgrade to specialized hardware. Our first stress test tackles the heaviest thermal load in the kitchen: deep frying puris. We are using a flat-bottomed, heavy cast-iron kadai filled with dense, premium wood-pressed groundnut oil. This specific oil presents a rigid thermal challenge. To achieve a puffy puri without burning the fat, the oil requires an incredibly stable, high heat, exactly between 160 and 180 degrees Celsius. The initial test yields a fast result. Because the magnetic field directly excites the iron with zero ambient heat loss to the surrounding air, the induction stove brings the heavy oil to frying temperature faster than a standard gas burner. The system's physical limit is tested when the food goes in. The exact second cold dough drops into hot oil, the temperature drops. Graph A reveals a flaw called pulse heating. A budget sub-1600-watt stove clicks on and off, creating a fluctuating red line dipping below the optimal zone. Look at Graph B. A 2000-watt model delivers continuous heat, holding a steady green line in the optimal zone. The culinary consequence of pulse heating is immediate. Every time the stove clicks off, the fluctuating oil temperature forces dough to sit in lukewarm fat, absorbing excess oil until you pull out a soggy, inedible puri. The solution lives in the machine's motherboard. High-quality models rated between 2000 and 2200 watts instantly detect the thermal drop of cold dough and pump a continuous stream of power to recover the lost heat in seconds. If your daily cooking involves deep frying, attempting to save money on a sub-1600-watt model guarantees culinary failure. Continuous heat recovery is a non-negotiable requirement. For the second stress test, we run the Bhuna technique. This requires slow roasting a mix of onions, tomatoes, and spices, constantly adjusting the heat until oil completely separates from the masala. For slow roasting, the appliance offers absolute digital precision. You can take the pan from a roaring 2000 watts straight down to a 400-watt simmer with exactly 1 tap on the glass. Traditional gas flames are designed for legacy, thin-bottomed Indian kadais. They physically climb the pot's curves, wrapping ambient heat around the sides for even cooking. Induction technology has a structural limitation. The electromagnetic field generates heat exclusively at the exact flat point where the metal makes physical contact with the glass surface. In this cross-section, placing a legacy curved pot on flat glass creates an extreme localized hotspot at the tiny center contact point. By swapping to a thick, flat-bottomed pan, the physical mass of the metal forces the heat to distribute evenly across the wide base. If you ignore this and cook with a hotspot, your spices will rapidly scorch and burn in the center of the pan, while the ingredients sitting on the curved edges remain completely raw. You have to make a hardware upgrade. To force concentrated heat to spread outward, you must invest in thick, Tri-Ply stainless steel or cast iron flat-bottom pans. The absolute precision of an electric stove is useless if old cookware physically bottlenecks the heat. Upgrading your pots is the mandatory entry fee for cooking perfect curries. Beyond pure cooking performance, we have to look at the harsh environmental reality of running a high-wattage electrical appliance on a typical Indian infrastructure grid. Cooking a heavy, multi-course Indian meal places immense, sustained stress on the hardware. The machine will regularly sit fully active, pulling massive current for 45 to 60 minutes straight. This creates a specific technical vulnerability. Unexpected voltage fluctuations in the local power grid can easily overwhelm the active circuits and instantly fry the internal motherboard. Buyers must take preventative action. You need to explicitly check the spec sheet and verify that the exact model you are purchasing lists built-in voltage surge protection. If you ignore the volatility of your local power grid, a premium 2200-watt appliance investment will inevitably turn into expensive e-waste within a matter of months. This flowchart, the induction buyer's protocol, replaces the panic buying mindset. For light prep, like morning tea, a budget 1200-watt model on the left is cost-effective. However, for deep frying and feeding a family, the right path, a 2000-watt minimum, surge protection, and magnetic cookware is mandatory. To verify your new cookware is compatible, run the fail-proof test. If a standard magnet snaps firmly onto the flat base of the pan, the appliance will heat it. If it slides off, the pan is useless. Transitioning to induction offers a high-efficiency alternative to gas, but success depends entirely on respecting the specific physics of electromagnetic heating. Buy the right wattage, match the correct metal, and you won't miss a beat.